The Guyana Revenue Authority continues issuing refunds to companies, businesses, and individuals. Value-added tax, VAT, credit notes. The Customhouse Broker Training kicks off, and your questions in focus. This is Focus on GRA, and I'm your host, Nikisha Castello. This week, we'll delve into those subjects and more, so stay tuned. We'll be back after these short messages. School is out, and it's time to start buying those school supplies for your children. Here's how GRA can help. Textbooks, coloring books, graph books, dictionaries, pencils, erasers, crayons, lunch kits, scientific calculators, geometry sets, and many more essential school supplies are zero-rated for VAT. School uniform garments for shirts, pants, skirts, kimonos, and dresses are also zero-rated for VAT. So what are you waiting for? Get to shopping. GRA, your partner in development.
The Guyana Revenue Authority is pleased to introduce to you our Optimal Revenue Management System. You don't have to stand in line, file your tax online. At GRA now it's a fact. You could go online and file your tax. Stay home, don't worry, just relax. Stay safe and file your tax. Save money and time, you don't have to stand in line. Never miss a deadline. At GRA, you can file your tax online. The Optimal Revenue Management System is an improved and user-friendly software that facilitates online services and the management of your tax affairs from your homes or offices. With this powerful and flexible solution, we provide comprehensive and flexible online services, thereby reducing the cost of compliance. Visit the GRA resource page www.gra.gov.gy/optimal to find out more. Sign up and register for an Optimal account at eservices.gra.gov.gy. At GRA, you can file your tax online.
Meet Cindy.
Meet Shivani.
Cindy is using the old tax software to assist taxpayers,
While Shivani is using the new Optimal software, where everything is stored electronically and is easily accessible.
Optimal Revenue Management System. Let's get ready for 2021.
Welcome back. You're watching Focus on GRA. If you're eligible for a refund, you are in luck. The refund section of the Guyana Revenue Authority has started a campaign targeting multiple businesses and individuals who may be eligible for a tax refund. They are also urging taxpayers to provide their banking information for refunds to be transferred directly to their bank accounts. Let's learn more. Persons eligible for a tax refund are taxpayers whose taxes were overpaid or overdeducted. The taxpayers who may have overpaid their taxes are likely self-employed persons and companies. Pay-as-you-earn PAYE employees are eligible for a refund if their taxes were overdeducted by their employer. Principal Manager of Tax Compliance and Enforcement explained what the PAYE campaign entails.
What the Guyana Revenue Authorities embark on is the payment of refund for all those persons whose taxes were overdeducted. That's basically we're looking at the PAYE persons, and it's for the year 2017 to the year 2019. We've already paid in excess of 18,000 persons from the public sector. We were using their bank account information. We paid those. And what we're doing now, we've embarked on paying the private sector persons.
In the past, the Guyana Revenue Authority experienced numerous problems issuing checks to its taxpayers.
Previous years, what you have had were persons who, when you cut the check and you mail it, the checks come back. Because one, the person might have given you an incorrect address, or the person would have changed their address. You had other issues would be like the person might have somebody would have kept their checks in their hand in excess of a year or 2 years, and the checks become stale dated. So we had of going back over and over again, of getting back again, sign over the checks, change the date, and then.
Currently, the agency is visiting various businesses to issue refund checks to the employer, who will then distribute same to their employees.
For now, what we are doing, we're going to prepare those checks as per employers. So we'll notify the employers that, look, you have 10 persons, 20 persons, 100 persons in your employ, right? We want you to confirm that they are still working with you because we have refunds for them. Once those persons are confirmed, we will get a date with the employer, and then we will print those checks for those persons with a 10, 20, 100. And then we'll go there and we'll pay. We'll pay those persons.
The GRA is urging taxpayers to provide their banking information so that refunds can be credited directly into their account.
The Guyana Revenue Authority would treat those bank account information strictly confidential. In other words, those information won't be shared with anybody else, right? And what Guyana Revenue Authority can do with your bank account information is only to credit that account. There's no withdrawal. The bank wouldn't even allow that, right? So we will just credit your account with the refund. So there's nothing to fear about that, your bank account, people will take money out of your account or do anything with your bank or hacking or nothing of the sort. It's just to deposit money into that account.
If you would like to produce your banking information to the GRA, simply email a copy of your bank statement showing your name and account number to winnis@gra.gov.gy or tobrien@gra.gov.gy. The financial information on the statement is not required, only your name and account number. For more information, call 227-6060 extension 1210 or 1007. If you are a VAT registrant, in some point in time, you may encounter a circumstance where you were overcharged for VAT or on the supply of goods and services. The VAT Act made arrangements for the supply of a VAT credit note to be issued to another VAT registrant. Here's more.
Section 29(1) of the Value-Added Tax Act governs the application of a tax credit note. These are issued by a VAT registrant. Selma Garnett, Manager of VAT Audit and Enforcement, explains what is a tax credit note.
A tax credit note would apply to your output, which is your sales or your income. Those are issued in cases where you would have charged the tax at the wrong rate. Let's say you charge at a higher rate and you want to reduce it. That is how you do that. You issue a tax credit note, and that would correct that.
To illustrate Ms. Garnett's example, if you sold a case of juice for $1,200, but some cans were damaged, you can issue a credit note if both the seller and the buyer agreed to a discounted cost of $200. The credit note will reflect the adjustment in the price, which is $200, and the VAT overcharged, which would be $28. A VAT registrant should note that a tax credit must be distinguished from the original invoice issued for the sale.
You should have displayed in a prominent place the words tax credit note. You should have the name, date, and mostly all of the other requirements for a tax invoice.
Those other requirements include the address, VAT registration number of both the seller and buyer, and a brief explanation of the circumstances giving rise to the issue of the credit note. Additionally, the VAT registrant must provide information sufficient to identify the taxable supply where the tax credit note applies. Paragraph 2 of Schedule 3 of the VAT Act outlines the particulars that are required when issuing a credit note. A tax credit note should only be issued in cases where an invoice was issued and the amount shown on the invoice was incorrect or where a return was filed. In the case where a return was made, Ms. Garnett notes that a tax credit note can be issued to reverse the transaction.
But it is good for audit purposes that you attach that tax credit note to the invoice that you're trying to reverse, so that when the auditors come to check your books and records, you have all of your information in one place. So it would not appear as though the sale would have gone through, when in actual reality it did not, and you don't have any proof that the sale did not go through.
The issuance of tax credit notes reduces the amount of output tax the registered seller will account for in the period in which the credit note was issued. It also reduces the amount of input tax for the registered buyer. For more information on issuing and maintaining tax credit notes, VAT registrants can contact the GRA's Tax Advisory Services Division.
The GRA wishes to remind unscrupulous taxpayers seeking to manipulate the system for tax evasion, that they will be penalized in accordance with the legislation. This is with regard to the relief for freight charges to pre-pandemic levels. Manipulations discerned so far include the following: misrepresentation of the invoice date to reflect dates after August 1, 2021, even though the goods were shipped prior to August 1, invoices reflecting only FOB and not the CIF prices, invoices reflecting lower prices of the commodities and higher freight charges. In this regard, the GRA is urging importers to be compliant and supply the correct invoices to the authority. Importers are further implored to pass such savings on to the consuming public. The GRA again advises that those found non-compliant will be subjected to additional taxes, fines, or penalties, and imprisonment upon conviction. Coming up, the Customhouse Broker Training begins virtually, and your questions in focus. Stay tuned. Meet Tom.
Meet Harry.
Tom failed to update his banking information with the GRA and now has to go into the agency to receive his refund check.
While Harry is using the new Optimal software and his refund was successfully transferred to his bank account.
Optimal Revenue Management System. Let's get ready for 2021.
As a remigrant, you can import more than one vehicles and pay no import duties, no VAT, and reduce excise tax. However, the total exemption cannot exceed $5 million. If it does, you will have to pay the additional duties and taxes. Did I mention that returning students are also entitled to the same benefit 6 months after settling in the country? For additional information and assistance, contact us 227-6060, extension 1201 to 1204.
Are you into business, going to school, or planning to buy a computer or laptop? Then GRA has you covered. Computer monitors, mouse, keyboards, and many internal components of the central processing unit are zero-rated from VAT. Yes, you heard right. They attract no VAT. But wait, there is more. Computer accessories and printers for personal use, whether multifunctional or not, are also VAT zero-rated. For more information on zero-rated items, contact us. GRA, your partner in development. The GRA has received over 100 applicants for the Customhouse Broker Training. The training commenced on Monday, September 6, 2021, and the participants will be trained on a diverse range of topics. Here's more.
This week, the Guyana Revenue Authority held the first session of its Customs House Brokers Training course virtually. The 6-week course is designed to give potential Customs House brokers insight into customs processing, applicable laws, and their role in the customs process. Mr. Rohan Biku, Comptroller of the Customs, Excise, and Trade Operations, briefly explains this role.
Brokers are basically what we call intermediaries. You would represent clients or the importing and exporting populace to customs.
In the World Customs Organization glossary, a customs house broker is known as a customs clearing agent. This is a person who carries on the business of arranging customs clearance of goods and who deals directly with customs for or on behalf of another person. Mr. Biku highlights the importance of the training for those who will soon carry out their practical duties.
By interacting or by representing clients on behalf of the trading populace, it is important that brokers are equipped with the relevant tools, the relevant knowledge, the relevant knowledge of the operations of the Revenue Authority and customs as a whole.
Mr. Biku outlined some of the most recent changes to the customs, excise, and trade operations in the last few years.
The implementation of Asecuda, an electronic platform where documents are now submitted electronically compared to paper-based submissions in previous years. You would have seen implementation of post-clearance. You would have seen risk management. Risk management means now all imports or exports are not flagged for examination. Only those that are subject to high risk or medium risk or as the risk criteria is determined, only those would be flagged for certain checks. There's also been a trusted trader program where the persons or businesses that qualifies for such treatment are subject to less checks, less documentary and physical examination checks. So these are just some of the things that we have done over the years as we seek to reform customs to bring it in line or in keeping with world trade in the 21st century. One of the other things that we have done in recent times is the implementation of what we call non-intrusive scanning technology, using scanners to see what is inside cargo rather than having to going to those consignments.
The comptroller closed by emphasizing the importance of a customs house broker who is obligated to ensure that their clients are compliant in accordance with the laws of Guyana.
The GRA has implemented a policy which only allows vaccinated taxpayers to transact business with the agency. Unvaccinated taxpayers who are desirous of entering GRA's offices must first set an appointment and produce a negative PCR test. More in this feature.
To transact business with the Guyana Revenue Authority, taxpayers must prove their vaccination status in keeping with the recently gazetted COVID-19 national emergency measures. Manager of the Public Relations Unit, Marcia Harris, explains that management has implemented new protocols for taxpayers visiting any GRA office. The GRA will allow vaccinated persons immediate access to its premises.
When they come to do transactions with the Guyana Revenue Authority, that they provide proof of vaccination, which will mean their vaccination cards in this instance. And of course, they also have to provide a valid form of identification. And so that will be your driver's license, your national ID, or your passport.
Taxpayers who are unvaccinated will have to make an appointment before accessing GRA's premises.
Well, we have some hotlines that we would have published, and we also have some email addresses that we would have shared for persons who want to make contact with the head office, for persons who want to make contact with any of our branch offices, or for our operations at the wharves. And so we have those email addresses for the persons who are making appointments for Georgetown location, which is headquarters basically. You have appointments at gra.gov.gy. And of course, I know that you're going to show those so that they can have them on screen and they can write them out. You also have wharves at gra.gov.gy, and you have branches at gra.gov.gy. So those are the 3 email addresses that persons can write to when they want to make an appointment, or they can call our switchboard or receptionist, and the telephone numbers are the ones that they will usually call all the time, but it's just the extensions that they need to remember. And so they can call 227-6060 or 227-8222. And the extensions to call, once you would have dialed those numbers, the extensions that you will punch in are 1502, 1506, or 1507.
Taxpayers are advised to be clear on which department they would like to visit to conduct business when making an appointment.
So if it's for license, then you need to ensure that you're telling us that your appointment is for the license department because you want to do registration, or you want to have your driver's license renewed, whatever the case may be, but you need to be clear on that so we will know how to route your call so that you can speak with the right person and we don't have to be transferring you to different places.
Similarly, when making an appointment through the email option, taxpayers are advised to be clear on what type of service they would like to access.
If you explain your situation clearly, then we can route that email to the right department, and they will in turn make contact with you. So we are also asking persons to ensure that they indicate in the email, if they were to use the email route, that they indicate a contact number, just in the event that the officer needs to call them to clarify any issues that they may have with the appointment.
Taxpayers are encouraged to contact Tax Advisory Services section for advice on tax matters via email taxadvisory@gra.gov.gy.
For persons who want to make regular queries like they usually make, they can do so by making contact with the very telephone numbers that we mentioned before, which is 227-6060 and the 227-8222. They can call those numbers, and then they can get on to the Tax Advisory Services section now, which will provide them with tax advice on any issue they may, tax-related issue, of course, that they may need advice on. And so the extensions that they can dial to get a tax advisory services section, they can use 8000, which will link them to the Hunt group, where what happens there is that once you dial 8000, then your call is transferred, or it bounces across all the extensions that are available in that section, so that if somebody is on a call, and you wouldn't have to be on hold all the time, so the call will bounce around until somebody picks up the call. Or if you don't want to use the Hunt group, which is 8000, then you can use the direct extensions, which are 1201 to 1204. 1201 to 1204 are the ordinary extensions.
These new visiting measures took effect from August 9, 2021. The new GRA visiting measure applies to all GRA's integrated regional tax offices, wharves, transit sheds, and headquarters.
When it comes to healthcare, we all want the best hospitals, the best doctors, and the best treatment. But sometimes the best comes at a heavy cost. Well, the good news is you don't have to worry about VAT on medical, dental, hospital, optical, or paramedical services. There's also no VAT on orthopedic appliances like hearing aids or others that are implanted on the body to compensate for a defect or disability. Sounds like good news to help you feel better for the best.
We want the best facilities that this country could ever see, the best infrastructure and public utility, the best education for children in this country, the best health services and public security. But if we want to see such development in every community, then we must be fair and pay we full share of taxes and duty. Want proper bridges and coca, pay your tax. Better roads and safer, pay your tax. Better electric power, pay your tax. Clear potable water, pay your tax. Better schools and teacher, pay your tax. Better nurses and doctor, pay your tax. Better police and soldier, pay your tax. For a better Guyana, pay your tax.
I am Balwan Prasad, driver for the past 10 years. Over the years that I have been driving, I always make sure that I buckle up, I observe the 5C, and most importantly, make sure that I renew my driver's license at least 3 months before the expiration date.
Thanks for staying with us. We'll now join our tax specialist to answer a few common questions we received from taxpayers.
You may have gone to the bank or a public entity for a particular transaction and you're told you need a liability statement before you can complete that transaction. And you're not sure what that is. Well, I have Ms. Deslyn Best from the GRA's Tax Advisory Services section. She's a tax specialist and she will be providing the answers you need. Deslyn, welcome to our program.
Thank you.
What exactly is a liability certificate?
A liability certificate is a document issued by the Compliance Unit, GRA, to individuals and companies as proof that all their taxes and returns are submitted and there is no outstanding taxes payable to the GRA.
So it's just a document. So what are some of the reasons one would require a liability statement from the GRA?
Okay, you can request a liability statement from GRA for the following reasons: for gratuity, pension benefits, duty-free concession for the Guyana Energy Agency, Small Business Bureau, forestry, 2% withholding tax exemption, brokerage from the Bank of Guyana for money transfer, commercial banks, Cambio license, dealer license, the Ministry of Tourism for a matching grant, exploration of gold, for a firearm license, and also for naturalization.
Great. So how does one apply for a liability statement? What are the required documents for obtaining this statement?
To obtain a liability certificate, you have to complete the application form, attach a copy of your identification card. All your income tax return must be filed for the last 8 years, or at least at the time of the application, If you hadn't submitted your income tax returns, you need to submit them at that point and also pay out outstanding taxes and penalties, or also if it is that you're not able to pay all the monies outstanding at once, then you should enter into a payment plan with the Guyana Revenue Authority in order to get your liability certificate.
For those who may want to submit online, can I apply online? Can someone apply online for a liability statement?
Yes, you can apply for your liability certificate online. You submit your application form along with the supporting documents to liability@gra.gov.gy. That is liability@gra.gov.gy.
And lastly, the question on everyone's mind, what is the processing time before someone can get this liability statement?
To obtain your liability certificate, it takes approximately 3 working days.
Great. Thank you very much, Ms. Deslyn Best Dear from the GRA's Tax Advisory Services section, talking all about the liability statement or certificate. If you have other questions, feel free to contact us at the numbers listed at the end of our program.
And with that, we've come to the end of the program. Before I go, I must remind you of our email address, grapublicrelations@gmail.com, and we also invite you to visit our social media pages for more information. Be sure to tune in next week, same time and place for Focus on GRA. Thank you for watching. I'm Nikki Castello. See you next time.